At a market in the Sudanese city of Al Kamlin, small farmers from the north of the country are selling their crops. It provides them with enough money to survive. Jad Karim Hamid also used to get by from his earnings from farming. Seed was cheaper back then. But then the Sudanese government started to privatize the sector.
We've stopped growing wheat and cotton because the government stopped supporting the cultivation of those two crops. Now agricultural banks provide the financial support, but they don't do a good job. If we get seeds, they're all bad quality, like the fertilizers, and the irrigation system is also a problem.
Now Jad Karim Hamid only grows millet. It doesn't require as much expensive fertilizer. His land is part of the El Gezira project, which allows thousands of small farmers to cultivate around 900,000 hectares. Water is pumped here from the Blue Nile River through a series of canals. Originally, the harvests were sold on behalf of the farmers by state-sponsored project managers. But 5 years ago, the Agricultural Ministry privatized the program and got rid of the management system. Now nearly half the land has been leased to an Egyptian company, and the small farmers have been shut out. The new investors produce crops solely for export. The Sudanese people don't benefit at all from the harvest. Mohammed Al-Mustafa is an economics professor in Khartoum. He's long criticized the government's actions and says the World Bank is partly to blame.
The experts of the World Bank encourage the government to do all these things. Even the recommendation, the basic recommendation for the privatization of the Gezira scheme came from the experts of the World Bank, not from this government, but these people took it as wisdom and they tried to apply with the active encouragement of the World Bank experts.
Thousands of small farmers have lost their land and their sole means of survival. Nearly half of Sudan's population lives below the poverty level, but the agricultural minister says the people themselves are to blame.
I don't see any reason for any person to be hungry in Sudan, because the resources are everywhere. And I don't like to comment on who is the hungry part of the country or who are the hungry people in the country, but I believe in this country, if you work very little, you'll never be hungry, because there is enough water resources, there is enough rainfall, there is enough good climatic conditions, and there is enough experience.
Land leasing has turned into a booming industry in Sudan. Even the agricultural minister has cashed in. He joined forces with a Jordanian investor to set up a major agricultural business. They produce feed for livestock, but hope to expand into peanuts, corn, and soya as well. Their harvest is only sold internationally, where the company can make more money. The minister often invites potential investors to visit the company. There's growing international interest in setting up similar ventures in Sudan.
This farm was also made to bring and to encourage the foreigners, or for the Gulf people, the people who have the money to have this investment, to show them that there's a good sample here, that it is applicable and you can grow good crops here with good margins.
The government says foreign investors are modernizing Sudan's agricultural industry. The state offers good investment conditions to attract more big businesses. So far, it's worked. Experts estimate that more than 1.5 million hectares of land have been leased, often to government-backed companies from the Gulf states, for example. In Sudan, they can cultivate crops they don't grow in their own countries for their home market. But it's not just foreign firms that are cashing in. Here on the Nile, Sudan's biggest private company, the DAL Group, oversees thousands of hectares of land. Their crops, too, are sent abroad. The manager of the farm says the company hopes to produce goods for domestic markets in the near future, especially wheat.
Basically, we still need to cover the local market. If we don't cover the local market, there's no point in exporting wheat. So the main objective is our own food security, and then we look into international markets.
Major investors rely on machines to cultivate large swaths of land, a farming practice that puts Sudan's small farmers at a disadvantage. They rarely find work with the big agricultural firms because many of them haven't been trained to use machines for farming. The future of Sudan's small farmers looks uncertain.